Hi students, happy morning to all. Welcome to ninth standard video. Today we are going to learn about supplementary reader unit 7 supplementary reader the Christmas truce Oran Shepherd. The Christmas truce Oran Shepherd. This video is the continuation of the last video. This video is the continuation of the last video. Okay students. So Christmas, during the Christmas, the World War first happened. So, okay, students, shall we move? So, the Christmas truce or support. So, this piece set during World War first, 1914, British vs German, highlights the beauty of unlikely friendship and fellowship. So it is a British soldier's letter to his sister on how all enmity was forgotten as British and German soldiers celebrated Christmas together. So already we had seen the introduction. Now first we see the previous video. We see the previous lesson also, previous class, what we had seen, what had we seen in the previous class. So listen first this piece. So it has been a terrible writing knowing that any movement on artillery shell might land and explode beside us in the trench, killing or maiming gentlemen, and in daylight not daring to lift out our hair above ground for fear of a sniper's bullet. And the rain gets collected right in our trenches where we must bail it out with pots and pans, and with the rain mud and with the rain the mud has come a good foot or deeper. It splatters and cakes everything and constantly sucks at our boards. During the day, there was little shelling on refill fire from either side. And as darkness fell on our Christmas Eve, the shooting stopped entirely. The shooting stopped entirely. Our first complete silence in month. We hoped it might promise a peaceful holiday, but did not count on it. We had been told the Germans might attack and try to catch us off guard. Okay, students, now come to the next. I went to the dugout to rest and lying on any cot. Here I, who is refers to I refers to the narrator, that is the British soldiers. Okay, it is a British soldier's letter. Okay, it is a British soldier's letter to his sister on how all enmity was forgotten as British and German soldiers celebrated Christmas together. Okay, so the British soldiers went to the dugout to rest and lying on any cot. Their friend John, his friend John was shaking or awake. He grabbed his rifle, stumbled out into the dredge and stuck his head cautiously above the sandbags. He never hoped to see a stranger and more lovely sight. Clusters of tiny lights were shining all along the German line, lit on right as for the eye could see. The British soldier went to the dugout to rest and lying on any cot. His friend name is John, was shaking or awake. He grabbed his rifle, stumbled out into the trench and stuck his head cautiously above the sandbags. He never hoped to see a stranger and more lovely sight. Clusters of tiny lights were shining all along the German line, lit on right as far as the eye could see. With all this, they could not help feeling curious about the German soldiers across the way. With all this, they could not help feelings curious. Could not help feelings curious about the German soldiers across the way. After all, they faced the same dangers the British. They did and slogged about in the same mug. After all, German soldiers faced the same danger they did and slept about in the same mug. Their first trench was only 50 yards from ours. Their first trench was only 50 yards from ours. Between them lay no man's land bordered on both sides by barbed wire. Yet they were close enough. They sometimes heard their voice. Okay. British soldiers hated them when they killed their friends. But other times they joked. They joked about them and almost felt they had something in common. And now it forms they feel the same. They hated them when they killed their friends, but other times they joked about them and almost felt they had something in common, and now it forms they feel the same. Just yesterday morning, Christmas Eve day. The narrator, British soldiers, narrated just yesterday morning, Christmas Eve day. They had their first good free school as they were. They welcomed it because at least the mud froze solid. Just the day after morning, the day before morning, Christmas Eve day. The day before morning, Christmas Eve day, they had their first good freehold as they were. They welcomed it because at least the mud froze solid. Everything was tinged. Everything was tinged. Sun shone over everything. Perfect Christmas weather. Perfect Christmas weather. Next was even more so. English come over. They heard one of them shoot. No shoot. They no shoot. They're in the trenches. They looked at each other in bewilderment. Then one of them shouted jokingly. They come over there. They come over there. To their astonishment, they saw two figures rise from a trench, climb over the barbed wire, and advance across no man's land. One of them called, "Send officer to talk." To our astonishment, we saw two figures rise from a trench, climb over the barbed wire, and advance across no man's land. One of them called, "Send officer to talk." Okay, students, I hope you have understood the Christmas truce. I will explain in the next video. Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice day.